guys, I wanted to make a really quick video about beware of the talker, not the doer. So, sometimes people have expectations, they get into a relationship and they start fantasizing about this future with somebody. But they don't just start, well, some girls are really out there. They actually start fantasizing a future that was never promised to them. But some guys make promises and vice versa, and they create these images in a partner's mind that they never plan on fulfilling. Or maybe they do and then they change their mind. But like, I remember I met this guy and he was like, I want to hang out with you on Halloween. So I rushed back to go hang out with him, and he ended up going to another party. And right in front of me, he was getting ready. And I was like, aren't you gonna invite me? Like, weren't we supposed to hang out? Like, I'm so confused. Do you not even remember the things that come out of your mouth? He's like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I guess I'm staying home because, I had like canceled every single invitation to hang out with you. That's an example of, and yeah, I mean, there's other ways around it. I could have been like, yo, what's up? What the, or I could have been like, I thought we were supposed to hang out with, but in the back of my mind, I just started realizing that this person just says what they think you want to hear, and then they do whatever they want. They don't really take you into consideration, and they don't even remember saying that they would do these things. And this is also the same type of person that always asks for rain checks and stuff like that. I don't know if you have a friend like that they're like, yeah, they say yes to everything, and then when it comes time to follow through, they're like, oh, can I get a rain check? Oh, can we reschedule? Oh, stay away from those people. Like, they don't know what they want in life, and they're so confused, and they're just like, they go wherever the fun is. They're not focused or dedicated. And anyway, don't want to get into that. That's a whole nother video. So the whole point was, I've met girls who met guys and they didn't think anything of the relationship. And this clearly isn't me because I haven't been with anybody in 5 years. And the guy will start saying stuff like, what if we get married? Or like, let's go to Florida and look at homes. And then they come back and break up with the girl. After they've looked at these homes, they've decided how they're going to decorate it. They built this huge illusion, and then they come back. Now, keep in mind, okay, because I always look at everything from both sides. I am never one-sided, even in my own life. I always look at it from both people's sides. Maybe this guy realized after going on vacation with this girl that she's not the one he wants to build this future with. Maybe someone else popped into his head, right? So that's a possibility. I always look at both sides. So maybe up until that point, he really loved and cared about this girl, and then suddenly something changed, right? And the girl has no idea what happened. This is just my theory, right? So I always try my best to be unbiased and to give everyone benefit of the doubt. Even with that kid, maybe he got invited to something else. Maybe he was high when he said he wanted to hang out with me, and then he got sober again and he forgot, because that's what some potheads do. Or maybe he was testing me to see if I was going to stand up. But you know what? You don't need to test people. God will test you. There are enough tests in life. You don't need to play God. And that's another thing that people have to stop doing, is testing their partner. Don't test your partner. Like, the universe and life will test you. You don't have to test them. The tests that you go through together will show you their character, right? So I've seen that. I've seen guys talk, right, and create this future. And this girl who never had any interest in the dude in the first place is now in love with a guy based on what he said he wants. And she's putting herself in that picture. Or they've actually sat down and discussed a future. And then again, out of nowhere, one of the two people, it could be a girl too, changes their mind. I'm like very consistent and loyal, as you can see. I loved a spirit or an energy for 5 years with no reciprocation. So I'm not like that. So my brain doesn't work like that. I'm not like, oh yeah, oh no, oh yeah, oh no. It's kind of like, I'm focused, I'm dedicated until you prove me wrong, and then I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I give everything I got, and then I walk away knowing that I did everything I could, and there's nothing more that I could do. Like, that's how I roll. But not a lot of people roll like that. So this happened recently to a friend of mine a couple of years ago, where she did not even think of a future with this guy. She was just like getting over an ex-boyfriend, you know, the real guy that she cared for, and then this guy pops up, and then he starts building this future and like asking her to move in and doing all this stuff and like setting everything up for like, wow, this could be it, this is what I've been waiting for. And they go to Florida, they look at homes, and then he comes back and breaks up with her. I'm like, what the, you know? And I've seen this happen with a few other people where like one of the partners, it could be male or female, not necessarily, I'm just giving you the examples of the people that I've interacted with. One person paints a beautiful picture and the other person falls into that picture, puts himself into that picture, only to find out that they never intended you to be that person in the picture. You know, and sometimes they did, and then something happens. And that's one thing you need to understand, is like people have feelings and emotions, and they change. They change based on family influence, based on friends, based on what they see on TV, based on what their homeboys or homegirls say, based on the sun, the moon, the sky. Some people are just really emotional. Some people have commitment issues. Some people have child trauma that reminds them of something that causes them to not make decisions when they're right there, when they're on the cusp of getting what they want, and then suddenly they self-sabotage. You know, there's so many different reasons and scenarios that people make decisions, but a decision is just a decision. You can change it just as quickly as the thought, you know? It's about the action. So the last video I made was about waiting for what you deserve to come to you, not wanting things. And it's interesting because when I went to a Buddhist, Thich Nhat Hanh had something at NYU a couple of years ago, and he wasn't there, but his monks were there, the people that follow him, and they were saying that all pain and suffering comes from desire. Either you're living in the past or you're living in the future. You're not in the present. When you live in the present moment, it is impossible for you to feel pain and suffering unless you just hit your toe, and even then that pain will dissipate. Then the pain was in the past, you know? So I've always held on to that practice, and I'm a very like calm, zen, spiritual person, and there are some people that are triggers because of the triggers that were set up from my family when I was growing up, right? And some of my friends, which were all narcissists, right? So I know that, but I knew that when the trigger happened. So when I got upset, I was like, why am I getting upset? Even at like 12 years old. Oh, because my mom did this and it reminded me of something, and this person did this, and then, you know, and then I reacted because I couldn't react that way to my mom because she's my mom and I'm not supposed to get mad at her or yell at her, right? So I got mad and yelled at this other person instead. And you do the same thing with your kids, and you do the same thing with your spouse, and you do. So this is just, I don't know who this is for, but I'm just gonna speak because I'm motivated to say all this stuff. And so they're triggers, and then people get, you know, So a good exercise to do when that happens is whenever you feel uneasy or dis-ease, because that's what it is, you're dis-ease, you're not at ease any longer, think of what that trigger was, and then think of where the source of the trigger could have come from. When was the last time you felt that way? When was the time before that you felt that way? All the way back down to the source. And then you'll realize that most of the time it's because you were unable to react the way you wanted to. Therefore, you take that reaction and you put it on everybody else who doesn't deserve it. Because they don't know what your triggers are, and they were just being themselves, and they were just talking, or thought they were having a rational, normal conversation before the trigger came in and then like freaked you out. You or the other person. So, and then like some people like myself, once they are aware of the trigger, will explain themselves and say, my apologies, I realize blah, 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 this is what has happened to me in the past, and I apologize. Some people are like, that's fucking crazy, and then walk away. And then some people are like, I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate the fact that you communicate. Let's move forward, which is what I'm looking for. But I'm not looking anymore. It's just, you know, it's what I hope for. You know, because I think communicating is so important. And then some people just get really mad and then just pull away and never speak to you again. You know, because they don't understand, and they're not open-minded enough to realize that we're all flawed. None of us are perfect. We all mess up. And as long as one of you, or the one who actually caused the issue, comes out and tries to communicate, there is hope for that relationship. But when one of you always freaks out and is like, you know what, I don't need this, and then things that you can't take back come out of your mouth, you're either taking that relationship and throwing it out, or you're gonna have to come back and apologize and figure out how you're gonna fix this. Because one thing I've learned is every relationship, somebody told me, is like a vase, right? Once it's cracked, you can't put that vase back together. There will always be a leak, right? And sometimes you have to break the vase and get a new vessel and start a new foundation to rebuild that relationship, right? However, some people insist on putting tape and super glue and that thing that you spray on things to fix them. What is that thing called? It's like the infomercial, and you can put it on a speedboat and you spray it and it'll fix the hole in a speedboat. You know, like they insist on doing that. And you know what? Sometimes that works. So, you know, you gotta give everybody credit. You know why it worked? Because they tried. The effort was there, the intention was there, the love was there. They were not gonna let this thing go. So, I don't know why, I just felt like making that video. Something when I was walking to my car was like, talk about these things. So I'm going to talk about these things. And then I remembered my friend, and I realized that, you know, not all women are crazy. Because I remember I was at the real estate office, and this woman was asking why he didn't work with her husband, and with, you know, a guy, why he didn't work with his wife. And he's like, oh, well, you know, because she's crazy. And then my broker was so funny. She's like, yeah, you know, there are some women that are crazy. And then she looked at me, she's like, no, there are some women that are just crazy. And I was like, no, I know, I totally understand, I get that, like, and I just think it's funny that you're even saying it, because most other women don't say that, but I have no problem saying that either. There are some people out there that are just cuckoo, and if you really do what I do, you realize that they're not just cuckoo, they've just been triggered so many times in their life. They didn't stand up for themselves, they didn't communicate clearly, they're still holding on to all of that emotion and anger. And you know, if they get the right help and they allow themselves to receive the information that they're getting from the person that's trying to help them, then maybe they can actually like grow past this or through this or whatever. But most people who are triggered and angry, they don't hear the information that they're getting as positive. They hear it as critical, as wrong, as you don't know what you're talking about, you're trying to control me and manipulate me, and because they're already still holding on to all of that previous trauma, especially if they've been wounded by somebody that they love and that trigger was a reaction to that wound. When you're young, you really look at your family as your support system, so when they start hurting you, then it leaves these deep wounds, these deep triggers. But that's a whole nother video. Like, you guys need to, like, I don't know, maybe I should start making classes about this and charging. What do you guys think? Like webinars on healing and whatnot, because I do one-on-one sessions, but I think more people need to hear information like this. Anyway, I'm gonna go now because I'm at my client's house and I gotta get to work. But I wanted to share that message because I'm just doing that. I'm just gonna make random videos, and then I know I have to start wearing makeup and looking girly. I do. It's just not when I make these videos. This channel specifically is just me being the grossest version of myself in front of the camera. But I have to start showing you like the nicer version of myself, so you guys can really, you've seen them in the earlier videos, so you guys can really see who I am. Like, I literally will make a video when I'm in bed after a long day, or when I just wake up, and that's normally what you see on this channel. But I hope this reached whoever it's meant to reach.